So this question about the $850 PC or so versus the PS5 Pro is generating a lot of questions. In fact, we've now gotten to the territory of, can this thing even do native 4K and all of the above? Because yeah, sure, the PS5 Pro does native 4K, but in that regard, I come bearing gifts of which we are going to go ahead and analyze as time goes on, because it's very important that we go ahead and do something like that so that, you don't get called crazy. So here in this particular, flash drive of mine, I have gone ahead to capture some footage from 4 games in 4K with this particular build. Details later. I also want to go ahead and point out what I think is an objection to the build. This user is asking if the parts are new parts. They are new parts. Receipts and everything you can verify from PC Part Picker. This document even has history as to when I started making all of the builds, and you'll be able to see when, stuff was actually added, and you can check the prices around the same time, and that can be verified. No problem. The second objection that they brought up, which I think is a Goalpost move, because when we started the video, we talked about the performance, was if it has a 2 terabyte storage drive. Now, you do know that this is a slippery slope, because after you do the 2 terabyte one, they're going to do Wi-Fi 7. Then when they do Wi-Fi 7, they're going to do surround sound, all things that are not pertinent to performance. And hence, I just basically asked the question, how does this improve performance? And they started telling me all of this, wall of story, of which I just said it's a red herring. At the end of the day, it's an $800 PC versus a PS5 Pro, and we're looking at performance and how this thing works. So after he talked and talked and talked and talked, he finally came around and said, let's drop the supposed red herring, and said, I can save $100 and I have twice the storage for what you're suggesting and still own my games. Well, you don't own them. The company still owns those games. To be fair, you own the disc. That's as much as you own. Back to this supposed red herring, if the storage was less, the console would be less. No, the performance is not affected by the amount of storage you have. And if Sony came out with a 1 terabyte Pro model, your whole narrative will be laughed at by your entire community. That's presumption on a hardware SKU that is not available. However, I think you were probably asking for some kind of a competition. When you argue with the framework of dunking on someone, you are at risk. And I'm not saying that I'm, innocent in this particular matter. I'm just saying that if you do that, you're at risk of actually, in a sense, falling into a trap that you've created. So now what you're saying is you're holding the whole build hostage and moving the goalpost. So I said, all right, you actually think the goal is winning, right? So if that's the case, you're missing the point, because it's not a competition. However, if we wanted to go ahead and actually compete, the 5800X3D is way too much CPU for anything compared to a PS5 or PS5 Pro. It is, in the AM4 family, the best CPU for gaming. It does a way better job. It is faster by miles. I mean, if you even just type in, say, 5800X3D versus PS5 CPU, you're going to see from, CPU Monkey and all these other places that the comparison is just absolutely out of this world. It's not even, a competition. It smokes it in ways that the CPU doesn't even realize. Do you see it? Average benchmark performance in single and multi-core, even though you can't even necessarily find ways to properly do, good work in all performance metrics, the green is the 5800X3D's CPU, right? So if we wanted to get that $100 for you, what we could do is go buy a 5800X, which is $100 less, right? And this is B&H. If you're in the Payable program, they'll give you your taxes back. And I actually added the tax-based price here, right, for this CPU. So that 2 terabyte, NVMe that you're looking for, you can simply take the difference and go buy that 2 terabyte NVMe that you actually do want. That is basically melting your brain away. It's right here. You can pay $164 for one that they'll even give you DDR4 RAM with as a bundle. So now that we've established that even though you try to mend and push and shift the goalpost, you're still not beating this PlayStation, this, PC build. Can we now move on back to the performance metrics without you having to shift the goalpost? Because again, this is just so weird that all you want to do is confirm. Just let's listen to one another and not talk over each other. We're putting performance at the forefront. And I was actually as transparent as I could possibly be to show you everything that I chose to put in this build, including the caveats of this particular CPU. I was in GameStop the other day. I could have bought a 5700X, but I was at GameStop and they had the 5800X 3D. And I was like, yeah, let me go in and let me just get it. And I just got it because, I just wanted that CPU. However, there are other CPU SKUs within the family that would toast the PlayStation 5, CPU in terms of any comparisons that you want to do. A simple Google search, according to one of my audience members, is very, very adept at saving us a whole bunch of stuff. Why do we always have some folk that will come in to the conversation with so much boldness about something that, for some reason, how did you not even see this? And I don't want to put you on blast. I'm just saying, let's tone this whole whatever down. I'm not attacking you. I am attacking PlayStation's premise because they brought this thing out. Actually, I almost find almost no case against them. It's the so-called fanboys that overly hyped this device that people wouldn't hear anything anymore, that Mark Cerny had to come out there and clean up the mess that they had made in jumbling what this hardware piece is capable of. It's all AMD, so we have all kinds of fun stuff to be able to run comparative analysis. So Alien Isolation is gaming. This video is actually directed at you in terms of your argument. I'm not putting you on blast. I'm just putting your argument at the forefront, and I'm asking you, can we now move over to the performance without having to hear about Wi-Fi 7 and Dolby surround sound and all of these pedantic nonsense that your ears can't even make out if you thought about it, nor can your brain waves even catch what is Wi-Fi 6 or 7 in the ether? And let's get down to performance and how they actually do resonate within and across hardware. It's a very important proposition here, and there are people who are interested and willing to learn. This is not a PC gaming fest. This is actually built and born from the plethora of requests that I've been getting for a very long time from a lot of people out here who've been saying, hey man, I want to know some more stuff about this gaming PC stuff. Can you truly match a PS5 Pro under, because people are going out there saying you got to spend $1,000, $2,000. And I just literally, in my little, corner here, I just showed you what is $2,000. And we're not even skimping. We're literally just chilling. Like if we wanted to skimp, if we took that $100 that we removed from this particular CPU cost and put it to storage, you're not going to buy 2 terabytes of storage. Not everybody will anyways, for $160 without having gone through a lot of different possibilities. There are NVMEs that are $90 that are some of the fastest NVMEs that you find out there. And so when you actually go ahead and say, let's go ahead and run the numbers, let's do this, 167, we're now at $817. You actually argued the price of this PC down, thinking that you were going to go ahead and destroy the narrative. Bad faith arguments almost always are predicated by the need to own or to win or to do. That's not what the goal is here. It's not. You also had another claim in your comments as well, which actually had me go ahead and sit down and start making, all these benchmark videos. And I was laughing, sitting there going, man, this is interesting because I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just trying to ensure that somebody who reads this comment is not misinformed by what you're saying. So you said all of this stuff, it's $100 cheaper. Regardless, you're still telling me that I can't get twice the storage capacity at $100 cheaper. We can do it too. Stop. And then you said you don't even own your games. And then you said some, and these games are not even 4K. And I was like, oh, we're doing 4K now? Because I was going to go do 1440 analysis, but then you said 4K in one of your comments. And so I went and captured 4K footage. and I'll be happy to make a video about it. In fact, after all that work, it is imperative that I make a video on that particular premise. So, again, this is not a let's defend our platform, blah, blah, blah. No. If you want to defend your platform based on its merits. To try to come and compete with a PC using a glorified lockdown in a PlayStation box PC is always going to put you in a jam. Why? You don't have flexibility. You're locked in. That's what you get. On PC, you don't have to accept what is being offered to you. You can go get what you want. It's where the difference actually lies. If I see any comment of yours, I may block you for this series, and then you can create another account and comment so that I can actually focus on the matter at hand. That's the most important thing. Okay? Thank you so much for your cooperation. Now let us move on. I'm out.